Hey guys, this is Brandon with Investment Joy. Did you know that I own a tiny house and I turned it into a rental? Actually, I own 6 tiny houses, and this specific one I bought 6 years ago, over 6 years ago. So we're just going to break this deal down in the video today, and we're going to go over financial performance, how much money it's made, my problems, the issues with owning a tiny house. And the problems I have with my tiny houses are all the same. This one's really no different. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like the video and subscribe. Also remember, you get $10 in free Amazon or Apple stock through public.com. It'll be the first link in the description. So here we go, guys. So like most of my house, this is in a pretty decent-ish neighborhood. We're located close to downtown, also between the historical center and the train tracks, which I guess that makes it a good neighborhood. You guys be the judge of that. I bought this place actually 6 years ago for the princely sum of about $18,000. It's a situation where there's actually 3 homes on this lot, and one of the funny things is, if you're browsing the MLS or looking for houses online, sometimes you don't read the description properly and you find out that it's not just one house, but it's 2 houses in one listing, because a lot of MLS systems don't differentiate between multiple houses on the same property unless you're specifically looking for multifamily, which some MLS systems don't differentiate properly. So that's how I got a pretty good deal on this one. We had to put about $4,000 in it on the initial rehab phase, and that is what it is. It's been a property that I've owned for about 6 years. Now, when I say this is a tiny house, I mean it's an actually tiny house. The total size of this place is less than 400 square feet. If memory serves me right, it's about 14 feet wide by a total of 30 feet long, which would put us at about 360 square feet. What's interesting about this specific property was it was originally built as a horse barn. Back in the 1900s, people didn't have cars, they had horses. And they didn't have garages, they had horse stables. And over the course of time, this house, along with multiple others in this area, I actually own 3 just like this one, 2 are right down the street from here, they were all horse barns. And over the course of time, for the owners who owned the house up front, to make more money, they turn these into smaller houses. When you watch HGTV, TLC, or whatever it is, everybody is so enthralled with this idea of tiny houses, that tiny houses are a new thing. And what's funny to me is, with the half dozen tiny homes that I own, every single one of them is more than 60 years old. So tiny houses used to be common, and then we kind of got away from them, which is kind of weird to me, because in my opinion, we need more types of real estate, more types of housing, rather than cookie cutter everything being uniform, but that's beside the point. Now, I lost my paperwork to show you guys the exact number, so I'm going to use my head thinking, but on the side of the screen here, we will put the actual spreadsheet numbers. Over the course of the past 3 years, because I could pull it easily in my accounting system, this place has brought in almost $15,000 worth of rent in 3 years. The total net operating income, now net operating income is all of your expenses with the exception of debt service. What's important about that is it shows you what would your cash return be on a property like this without the need for a mortgage. Because the story with this one was I bought the whole place for $68,000. The cost segment for this place was $18,000. I put $4,000 in it. My total basis is $22,000 in this specific tiny house. Then I did a cash out refi about 5 years ago, I think it was, and I paid off my entire purchase price for this and the rehab price. So I have no money out of pocket. That net operating income for the past 3 years is a little north of $9,000, and my cash flow is about $4,000 after I include all debt service. That includes the interest and the principal. The principal curtailment was about $1,600 to $1,800. Once again, it's on the side of the screen with more exact numbers. I'm quoting them off my head since I lost my paperwork. But this property's been a very good deal for me financially, but there are problems. Other than having to go in and fix the baseboard electric, I've put appliances in here a couple times, minimal work on here. The turnover rate on every single tiny house that I have is a lot higher than any other type I have. My tiny houses are a 1 tier above my one-bedroom apartment rentals or my studio rentals. At the highest turnover, I have one-bedroom apartments and I have studio rentals. Then above that are probably my one-bedroom tiny houses. Above that are my larger 2, 3, 4-bedroom apartments. Then at the absolute top are my 2-bedroom plus houses. I have almost no vacancy on those whatsoever. So those costs have to be included. But the way I run my business, it's not too bad because I do not raise rent on my tenants unless they move out. Then I adjust the rent. We started this place in 2014 at $350 a month. We're renting it out at the end of the month. I've already got my tenant picked. He was in here last night. He loved it. He's a video guy. He might even be watching this, so go figure. So I've increased it. I think we're at $450 now. So I've raised the rent $100, haven't pushed money on people, and it's so far being pretty good performance. But even with the higher turnover rate, I would still totally buy 100 of these. In fact, that's kind of one of my 5-year plans, is to have 100 tiny houses, maybe even more, because the demand for these houses is here. Even though my turnover rate, I think I'll be on my 4th tenant in 6 years, which is high compared to my portfolio, I get these rented out within 1 week of it being available. 1 week is all it takes. The last time this was on the market, I probably had 50 applications. I do not charge for applications, so there's no real hurt in applying for this, but the demand is obscene compared to, say, a 2-bedroom apartment, which makes it a pretty good deal. So you guys be the judge on, would you buy a tiny house? I'm in Ohio, so I can buy these things pretty regularly, but I think it's a wonderful option for investors. Especially, I would love to do new builds on these someday, and that's kind of my goal over the next 5 years. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like the video if you haven't. Watch my other content on other media platforms, and I appreciate every single one of you for watching my channel. Thanks.
Hey guys, it's Brandon here. I'm going to show you how to buy a house for just $1 with a little known government program. You'll get on google.com and look for the USDA loan eligibility map. Now, when a lot of people hear the USDA, they think rural locations. This isn't true. Here's a map of where I live approximately, and only the highlighted areas are ineligible zones. Everything that's white on the map, which is 97% of the US, is eligible. Here's a house that I found in a subdivision in a small town outside Columbus, Ohio for $234,900, and it'll totally qualify for the government grant. So now we're going to look for lenders in my area that offer this program. It's kind of hard to find places, but that's where you put your work. Now for the dollar. We now use that dollar to buy a McChicken sandwich at the local McDonald's because you don't need a single penny to do this loan program. Now you do have to be a low-income household, have a 580 plus credit score, but you could use this as a house hack, rent out a couple rooms for a couple $100s a month to pay your mortgage, which makes this thing really cool. Thanks for watching, guys.